Virtual receptionists, also called IVR menus, are those voice menus that you get sometimes when you're calling into a company that say, "Thank you for calling XYZ company, press 1 for sales, press 2 for support," etc. So let's go ahead and add a new IVR menu, although you can see that we've already got one defined. So I'll set the new one. Let's give it our random extension number, 9095. You can set this to whatever you want. It's not really important. And we'll call it our new IVR menu. The third field here is the intro recording. I recommend you set a recording, otherwise people are not going to know what the options are. Now the recording is going to be the actual sound of someone saying, "Thank you for calling, press 1 for this, press 2 for that." So you do need a recording so that people aren't confused and don't know what to do. Now, the timeout delay is how much time you give the caller to be able to answer and set an option. In this case, we'll just leave it at 10 seconds. If the user or the caller does not actually push a button within 10 seconds, we have control over where it goes. So if they're confused and they don't hit an option, we can actually set them to go to a ring group or an extension or whatever you want. However, if you leave it at the default, which is select a destination, the IVR menu will simply repeat itself until they make some kind of a selection. Let's go to the advanced menu. Of course, there is the typical caller ID prefix, which means if the caller is coming out of this IVR menu, you can say "from IVR," and then it'll pop up on your phone as saying they're from the IVR menu. Direct dial, I always recommend dialing this, or enabling this, and you have to enable it to allow people to dial their own extension numbers. So if your recording states, if you know your party's extension, you can dial it at any time. That will not actually work until you enable the switch. Disabling voice. Now, if you're going straight to an extension's voicemail box after this IVR menu, you'll want to get this switch done because this enables you to create IVR menus for people's voicemails. We'll talk about that a little bit later in a separate video because that can get a little complicated. And then, of course, you do have control over what happens to the phone call when they enter an invalid destination. Let's say you give them options for 1 through 6, but they type 9. You can use this to handle that and send them to an operator or simply let the IVR menu repeat itself. I think we're all set up. Okay, yeah, we're all set up. So I'll go ahead and submit this so we can see our new IVR menu at extension 9095. Now the settings we were just setting can be edited by clicking the edit button, but we don't need that right now. What we need to do is define all of our options. So let's click Manage. You can see a large table of all the options that you can push on a phone. Let's scroll down here all the way to 9, and then you can hit star and pound. You have full control over where the call goes. Let's say if they're going to hit 0, it's going to go to the ring group to ring everyone. If they hit 1, let's send it to the apartment extension. And if they hit 2, let's send it to extension 142. Simple as that. Now, do remember, the recording that the caller is listening to has to correspond with the options in this menu. If you say they have an option 3 to go to the directory, but you don't actually define it in the options, then it simply won't work. So you have to make sure the options reflect exactly what your recording says. Now, in order for you to add a recording for an IVR menu, you have to go into Greetings and Recordings. This will allow you to upload recordings, which are WAV files or MP3s, or record your voice via an extension. I'll go ahead and stop the video now, and you should view the video for recordings to learn about how to use this section. Remember to click Apply Changes whenever you're done to save your settings.